Welcome back, everybody, to the 31 Days of Horror Movie Reviews. Let's see if I remember how to do this right, shall we? Today we're going to be talking about Boop. I hope it worked out. It's been a minute. He's Out There, directed by Quinn Lasher, written by Mike Scannell. On a vacation at a remote lake house, a mother and her two young daughters must fight for survival after falling into a terrifying and bizarre nightmare conceived by a psychopath. Now, on my Facebook, I asked people for the recommendations on certain videos that they would like me to watch or movies that they would like me to attempt to rate or to try to give me more of an idea of what to go for this season. And I'm gonna kind of start early to make sure I get all the days and nothing else can prevent me from doing so. So we're gonna talk about He's Out There. Now, first and foremost, this movie reminded me so much of Hush, which, if you haven't seen, it is a very good film and I highly recommend it. But the major difference between these two is one, it's in Hush, the female is handicapped with being deaf. In this one, the mother is handicapped with two children that don't understand common knowledge. They scream at everything. They shout for people the entire time. Now, let's jump into the plot. Pretty much the story goes as such. A family, mother, father, daughter, two daughters are going to their lake house up north that's several hours out. And a neighbor, or what he refers to himself as, is the local, pretty much local street watch or town watch, lets them know the only other people that have ever lived there was a family that had a son that supposedly went missing that's a little off, and it drove them all mad. He seems a little creepy, but you can tell he's just doing his best. The dad couldn't make it all the way. The dad couldn't leave. He was going to have to leave later because he has a business thing. So anyone who watches a horror movie understands that one of the two things is going to happen with the dad. Either he's going to be the hero or he's going to be, and this movie fell right into the same trap that they always do. I mean, there's no other way you could do it except for if he was going to be a bad dad and not show up at all. But after that, they go inside, and it just shows how quickly it shows the level of intelligence of children. And I understand they're children before anyone yells at me in the comments. They show up, they hang out for maybe 5 minutes. They begin to swing on a swing set while their mother goes in and changes, and they see a string and decide that a little line of red string throughout the forest, and they're going to follow that to wherever, I guess, to a pot of gold. Who knows what they thought what it was going to be, but they end up finding a small little tea set with 2 cupcakes on the inside of it, or on the tea party. One of them eats it because, of course, why would you not eat a random cupcake sitting in the middle of the forest? Anyways, they're children, I understand. Apparently they weren't taught don't take food from strangers or the freaking wilderness. I don't know. Maybe they really thought Lucky from Lucky Charms really had it good for them, They go back. One of them is sick. And one of the more clever kind of scares they do is kind of early on. One is hiding their cupcake from their mother, and she said, I'm going to save it for daddy. The other daughter, who is now sick and kind of sweating profusely, is beginning to throw up in the middle of the night. And as she throws up, she's reaching into her mouth, not like the over gross, like old school, not even old school, new school-ish horror where they're trying to put everything in the freaking female's mouth nowadays, but and pulls out a small little note that says hello. So he put it in the actual cupcake, which I found was interesting. She goes upstairs and to dig through the other cupcake, and she notices that there's another note that says goodbye. as it seems that she's digging through this cupcake. It's almost filled with some sort of antifreeze. So this daughter has definitely eaten antifreeze, and it's no good. To summarize the plot, it's a little slow for my taste, which I'll get back to here in a minute. But power gets cut off, phone gets cut off, and every time it gets dark and the mother does the smart things of hiding the children in from any line of sight in windows, covering everything up, they're still screaming for mommy or daddy, even though mommy is 2 feet away from them. So if she ever had any amount of surprise for the main threat or the main villain, it's gone. Like, anytime that she uses her brain, the children are her disability. Like, it is so rough at times with that. But to summarize the plot, it's a slower paced Hush to me. It's a PG-13 version of Hush. Oh no, it technically is R. I just thought of that. It must have barely touched on it. I don't really know how, because there's not a lot of swearing. There's mild gore. There's one scene where there's a head injury that's kind of rough. But besides that, that's the brief summary of them. They're pretty much surviving the night. Like, that's it. Like, I won't spoil anything else to let you watch the rest of it. But that's one of the more like thoughtful and kind of interesting styles of horror that I saw in it. The overall plot in it is simple. It's been done to death. So a plot for this is probably about a 5 or a 5. Ooh. My dog loved the movie, by the way. By love it, I mean hated it. Stared at the screen the entire time and was terrified of what was going to happen to the girls. But plot's probably about a 5.5, just because toward the end it was kind of rough. Like, honestly, just we'll jump next to Threat here. The Threat was so good for so long because throughout this film you don't see the man, which is always what's the exact opposite spin on this home survival that a lot of things do, where they're like, show them every time they use them as a jump scare, but instead they kind of use the sound and the or lack thereof as more of the scares, until probably about halfway through Act 2, maybe a little bit later on. And unfortunately it fell into the same kind of problem as a lot of them do, is once you show him and you just keep showing him for the rest of the film, he's not as scary. Like, the fear of the unknown should be the main thing that pushes all horror movies. Is you don't know what's going on here. Instead, it's just, here he is. Here's your wannabe Jason. Deal with it. So the Threat, I'm going to give the Threat a 6.5, because for the first half of the movie, the unseen made it really good. But seeing him and then hearing him talk at some point for a long period of time, which was unnecessary, it probably drops it down. Scare, I'll skip it. The characters, the mother's fantastic. She does a really good job portraying a mother who has 2 children that don't know what's going on. The main female's from, I can never remember her name. It's from Dexter. Hold on. Yvonne Strahovski. She does a really good job. The daughters play inept as much as they can. So I guess character work's probably, I mean, they're believable, except for how dumb they actually let the kids be. Mom characters 7, children characters 4, 5, like basic. I don't know. Overall characters 7, 5, 6. Overall scare factor, it had some creative bits into it. Like, the overall, we'll just do it this way. The overall score in this film, everything added together, won't really matter at this point. It's probably about a 6. 5 points. We'll give it a 6 to 6.5, because what was good in the movie was good. Some of the bads are just really, really bad though. Like, I give it a 5, 5.7. Like that's about what I'd give it, honestly. Would I recommend it to others? Most likely. If they want a basic like invader horror, it fills that problem. It fills that need. But yeah. Another day down. Let me know what else I should do. If y'all continue liking these videos, I'll do more of them. But until then, I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like it. Take care, guys. Enjoy your October and stay scared.